Okay, I'm back. Just got a break there to have a shuddering sigh. It's nice having someone to listen to me. It's so weird, isn't it? And I'm just talking to my phone. So yeah, I went to the 24-hour sector and, you know, they've done a lot for me so far because I've had a number of problems and, you know, they have enough on record to understand that, sure, it's definitely a mental health problem, but that's kind of beside the point, really. The problem is that it's got a mental health impact, but it doesn't have a mental health etiology, so mental health services as such can't help me. It just seems ridiculous that people still seem to think that that's going to work. Like, that's the first thing you do as a duty of care. Like, if you find someone who's suicidal, turn up to your medical practice or whatever, or emergency room, who says that, they intend to die. I called the mental health crisis team, and I had an argument with the last doctor I saw other than tonight, a couple of weeks ago, Harry. He was quite good, but a bit of an argument. He's like, oh, I have to call mental health services. I said, you mustn't. Like, that's just going to make things a hell of a lot worse for me, because that just undermines my whole credibility, and, it's undermining. It's not a mental health problem, and you're making it just makes it seem like it's in here. It's not in here, it's out here. I mean, I've got an incredibly strong mind. I've withstood so much. I have the opposite of a mental health problem. What I have is a very, 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 very bad, I've got very severe neurological damage at this point. Well, when I say very severe, I mean as severe as it gets, I imagine, from stress. I'm scrambled. And I don't want to die because of how things feel in my mind. I need to die because my body exists in a physical world that is being taken away from me. Like, everywhere that I have to be in the physical world is being taken away. I don't think they understand. I can't talk to anybody to have therapy to make that better. I have to have people take these predators off my back. It's not a mental health problem. It's like when I spoke to that stupid, horrible mental health nurse at ED, when I went there to see social workers who just funneled me to the fucking mental health nurse. It's just a horrible manner. Very much like the manner of this Dr. Belinda tonight that I'll finally get around to talking about. So, when I saw that nurse, I can't remember what her name was. It was a nightmare. That was my last ditch attempt before I pulled the plug. It was like I think it was 4 September. And my last ditch was to try and get some emergency social work. That's what I was going to do, but anyway, they just handed me over to mental health nurse. Fucking bitch. And so I don't want to answer her stupid questions. And I'm not, this isn't my personality, this is just my personality because I'm living out in the fucking jungle for 10 months, in the jungle 11 months now. The jungle isn't, the physical wilderness, it's the wilderness of the civil service, of the legislative system, and what's worse is it's the failures in those systems. Like, I don't even have that much of a problem with bureaucracy. I mean, I'm libertarian, but if bureaucracy works in a manner like it works very well in the Scandinavian countries, the thing is you've actually got to like abide by the rules that the bureaucracy creates. And I know from the inside that they don't abide by any of those rules. They just do whatever the fuck they want. That's the problem, is that if they give me hoops to jump through, I'll jump through them. The trouble is that they change the goalposts all the time to mix metaphors, so you can't rely on any of that. So, unfortunately, medical professionals, their thing to do with a person who's in really bad strife who wants to end their life, they send them to they ring the mental health crisis team. So I had this argument with this doctor called Harry, an English guy, a couple of weeks ago, and he said, sternly to me, he says, well, in this case I won't tell them. I do have a duty of care to do it, and I'm breaking the rules by not doing it, but in this case I won't do it. He was really like showing me he was not happy about it. And I said, well, I just said, well, it's just the thing is that it's really not going to help. It's not going to change any of the reasons that I want to, that I want to die. And he said, well, I have a duty of care. And it's like, fuck yeah, you have a duty of care. Your duty of care is to not make it worse for people by sending them to the fucking psych unit, which just makes it sound like they're fucking lunatics talking about something completely unrelated to the urgency of their living circumstances. And so that stupid mental health nurse that I saw at ED, it's like, she was asking me these dumb questions and I want to answer them. And I just said, look, I think it's better if I tell you what's going on, because I can just tell you, like, the questions you're answering, they're not going to get the answers that you need. She's like, well, I'm just telling you my processes. And I said, well, I just don't think your process is going to, I don't think it's relevant to my situation. She says, well, I just need to find out if you're depressed. I said, I can tell you right now I'm not depressed. She says, you're not depressed, but you want to kill yourself. And I'm like, yes, fucking hell, why can't they understand that? And she cut me off, but I started with a reasonably good analogy, which is, funnily enough, it's from Happy Tree Friends. With the moose who got stuck, and I won't start trying to discuss Happy Tree Friends plots. I'm not even drunk. Cheers, Caitlin. Sorry, I just got mesmerised by the timer. I said, look, if you've got a person who's out in the forest, I don't know, look, I may as well just not be a vegan about it and just say you've got a pig hunter or whatever out in the forest, and he's gone bush by himself for a couple of days. It totally happens. Very normal, and they usually are very well prepared. Occasionally something goes wrong. And sometimes people get rescued when something goes wrong because there are contingency plans, and sometimes they don't. So the example I gave is like, what if a tree fell and pinioned someone on the ground, and you know for sure you can't get out of that, like you're trapped underneath the tree, like you are trapped. And so there are only a few options available to you, and in those kind of circumstances, well, in some of those circumstances, and especially in the scenario I'm giving, all of those options end up in death, not living. You're not choosing between dying and living. You're making a Hobson's choice, basically. So I said, this guy he's got a pig knife or whatever. Well, that's not what I said, but that's what I'm thinking. Well, he can choose the quick way or the long, agonising dying of thirst and probably sepsis, and there's any number of ways you can die when you're just out in the wilderness and you're not going to be rescued and you're not going to escape, right? Anyway, she cut me off, but it's fucking ridiculous to say someone who's like basically chewing their limb off to get out of a trap. It's ridiculous to say, oh, didn't you like your limb? It's like, I really, really hate that fucking thing that woke fucking retards you're so privileged, you know, if you don't understand or agree with something about them. It's like, okay, I don't think people are privileged for not being in my position, but it's so out of fucking touch to not realise how desperate people get if their home is threatened. And it's not just that, it's that I've got no support, nobody, and it's not that there aren't people around me. It's like water everywhere, not a drop to drink. That's basically what it's like. I've got no one to even listen to me. I've got no one to even believe me. The few people who have are not people who were able to carry on by my side. You know, the last one like that was a radiographer. You know, when I got my chest X-ray at hospital, she was amazing. But it's like, well, you know, unless I'm going to look her up on LinkedIn, which I did. Her name was like Bridget or something. She's a really amazing young woman. Like they're a dime, you know, a dime a dozen. They're the opposite of a dime a dozen, you know. And when you can't get anyone to even listen to you, what are you going to do? So I went to the 24-hour place today, and Kirsten was there, so she was with me in an earlier kind of, you know, big kind of epic. So she knows a bit about it. And I told her why I was there. I said, look, going to see Jeff, blah, 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 blah. I told her a little bit updated about the Tennessee situation. And I said, I kind of need something a bit like a medical certificate. I know you can't write me a medical certificate, but you know, like, it's like something to show that I am just at my fucking limit, and which would be easy enough to do. It doesn't have to be a certificate, it's just, you know, whatever. And then I guess I was just sort of hoping that she would kind of be able to think of something else. I don't know. So she said, well, we don't have any diazepam here, but we'll get you some diazepam. Because, you know, like, not really, not, fuck, I'm kind of okay talking to you myself, it's kind of soothing, but, yeah, I was like, you know, like, really, like, gasping for air, crying on the way home, which is not a very dignified situation to be crossing Bailey Avenue, like 4 lanes of traffic, crying your eyes out. And so she said, and she'll get a doctor to come talk to me. And then I got a bad feeling, and my bad feelings are always spot on, and I'm a very science-minded person. It's got nothing to do with if you believe in science or not. It's all to do with science, isn't it? Science doesn't discount those kinds of things. Science is about collecting data and interpreting data with the fewest assumptions. I don't know what it is, but my whatever it is, my intuition's really good. So every time I get a uh-oh feeling, it's like, yeah. So I was prepared for this. So we get this doctor I haven't seen before, and she's absolutely horrible. So she sits down in front of me, because I'm in my little side room, and then she seemed like 5 minutes, but shit, never mind. There was an earthquake, but I just was juddering the table with my foot. So she just sat down. So the wonderful thing about Kirsten is she sat beside me. There's a little bit of, you know, not a lot of body contact, but just like a touch on the arm. Such a nice manner, and, you know, really. And so this woman comes, she sits down so in front of me, and she's like, right, how can I help you? And I said, because now I'm just really fucking sick of dealing with these fucking assholes. I really, really am. It's like, I said, did Kirsten not tell you why I'm here? And she said, oh yes, I know exactly why you're here, so what would you like me to do for you? And I said, this isn't actually a very nice situation for me to be in. I don't, if you know why I'm here, I don't really want to, I don't know why would you make me just say it all over again. It's like actually quite hard for me. And she said, okay, well, I'm not going to give you lorazepam. So she spent about 5 minutes, as I said, it seemed like 5 minutes, telling me in a number of different ways why she's not going to give me lorazepam. I ended up saying, okay, like, okay. Like, it's not okay. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't make it any better for her to go on and on and on. And she's being a real bitch about it too, like, I'm sure she doesn't mean to be a real bitch about it, but she's treating me like a drug seeker, I suppose. I mean, I imagine that's probably what she thinks. And so I just said, okay, like, I accept that. Accepting it doesn't mean it's okay, but I, just said, okay, like, I'm not going to argue with a doctor about giving me benzodiazepines. Like, I'm just not going to do that, right? And then she said, okay, what else, is there anything else I can do for you? And I said, well, you said that you know why I'm here. She said, yes, I've read all your notes. And Kirsten's told me. And I said, okay, well, you know them. And I said, well, can we just get on the same page then? So she said again that she wasn't going to give me any lorazepam. And I said, I'm aware of that. And she said, well, what else can I do for you? And it's like, I just said, look, I'm actually... like, I just repeated, like, this is not the situation that I can't remember, I said, look, this is not the situation I was expecting, or something like that, like, a person who's at the end of her rope. I just needed some respite from this horrible, horrible fucking nightmare. And I can't do anything, like, if I'm not calm. Like, I have stimulants here, but they don't, obviously they don't really work as stimulants for me, and secondly, I don't need stimulants. I need enough calm in my mind that I can actually do things. Like, I can't even know I can't even start dishes. I can't fucking do anything. I just stand there, frozen. It's like kind of an amygdala hijack kind of situation, except it's very long term. Like, it's just like frozen, can't do anything. And the only time I can manage to do anything is if I have some lorazepam. That is if it doesn't make me sleepy. So I don't like taking it during the day, but what are you going to do? I thought it'd be nice if I could at least tidy my apartment and just, and just get a little bit of, like, anyway, I said to her, look, this really isn't a situation that's working, I didn't say not working for me, that's another statement. I can't remember what I said. I was just like, look, I'm not doing this, basically. I said, I think I need to talk to Kirsten again. I said, oh, this is just weird. I said, do you want me to get Kirsten again? I said, yes, please. And so she brought Kirsten in, and then Kirsten was like, fucking hell. So they're both there, and she's like, Belinda's the senior doctor here. She just, she needs to, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm getting quite upset at that point, and I said, look, this is just not the way that you deal with someone. And I said, look, Kirsten, I was feeling so much better talking to you, and now I feel like a lot worse again, because my heart was hammering, like I was right back into this panic. And it's like, I said that to them, and I just said, look, you cannot treat somebody like this, who's only hanging on by her fingernails. This is not the way. You don't come in getting all no nonsense when spending 5 minutes and we're not going to give you lorazepam and just basically arms crossed, so what do you want? Like, I just said, you cannot take that manner with someone. And Belinda was saying, well, I'm trying to see what I can do to help you. And it's like, I really don't think so. Like, if you wanted to help me and you know what my situation is, you would not be behaving like this with me. Because basically what Belinda's done is she's basically signed my death warrant. That's what she's done. And I can't. And when the coroner looks into this, everyone's gonna say, well, we were just following the rules, or she didn't seem that way, or we thought. It's like, fuck you all, fuck all of you, you fucking know what was going on, you're just being fucking assholes. Someone goes to a medical centre in desperation, and Kirsten said, Belinda just needs to do her own assessment. I said, no, she doesn't. And she said, yes, she does. And I said, well, she can do her assessment on nobody because I don't have to be here to be assessed. I said, that's how it is. And I think they were both a bit surprised. But people don't really understand how libertarians work. And it's just like, look, man, you don't have to help me, but I don't have to stand here and listen to your fucking bullshit either. I can actually just die. You know? It's the one thing that I can do. And I was just crying so hard when I was walking home, and it's like, I've been in this situation a few times. It's like, God, there's no hope. And then someone gives me some hope, and then I like follow that hope along, and then the trail goes cold, and then and that's what they did. Belinda says, well, you know, when you were talking to mental health services, so I'm obviously going back in time, and I said, no, it's not a mental health problem. Not in this. I mean, you can do the double meaning, but the thing is that the double meaning doesn't work when you actually go to the mental health services, because they don't do double treatment. They do one kind of treatment, which is mental health treatment, not circumstantial treatment. And so Kirsten was, she was sleeping with the enemy now. And she said, well, they might, you know, you should ring them, maybe they'll help. And I said, I spoke to them yesterday. And she said, what do they say? And I said, they said it's not for mental health services, it's for social advocacy. They said, you've got to get an advocate. And I said, I've already been to Jeff at the Salvation Army tonight, but it's not enough. Like, anyway, so Belinda says, well, I asked you what I could do for you. And I was just like, oh, you know what, I'm out of here. I was not very calm when I left, and they were both sort of standing there, like, I really dressed them down. I said, you cannot treat people like this. You can't take the no-nonsense, you know, hard line with them. Like, I hope they're doing a bit of thinking. It's basically just fucked, like, everything's just totally fucked. You can't get any help. You can't get any help in this country unless you've got money, and that's the problem, is that the whole socialist, well, it's not socialist economically, but the idea that everything's socialised, it doesn't work because no one's motivated to do anything. And perhaps people shouldn't be motivated by money. Who knows if they should or shouldn't. I disagree that they shouldn't. But even if they shouldn't, the fact is that they are. So, you know, so I can either pay nothing to get nothing, or I can maybe get something with a shitload of money just down as an initial retainer with no guarantees, and I don't have a shitload of money. I think I've got, because of this KiwiSaver withdrawal, I think I've got basically a couple of $1,000, which should have gone to other things, but, well, I have that, and that's it. And that would go in about 3 hours, a good lawyer, especially because I can't do my, shit, not even, because I can't do any clerking. I'm like, can't do it, I'm broken. And I have thought about asking a couple of other sources. I thought maybe I'll finally bite the bullet and ring the police. but I just, I'm just done. Like I'm done. There's a limit to how many people you can ask and get nowhere. And I think the buck stops. I'm not starting a new endeavour trying to get help. I'm now, the main problem I've got to solve is what is an effective way that I can, how can I end my life? And it's got to be effective, and I don't want it to hurt, and I don't want it to be really, really distressing. Because I don't like it when I have really funny symptoms, and I often worry that I'm having a stroke or a heart attack, and it's just like going to be so frightening when it's actually because I'm dying. And I don't know how to, like, this is just like a really horrible problem to have to solve, and I just don't know what to do. And I suppose that I have to hold on until Tuesday to, like, I'm quite a positive person and I always look for a solution, and it's just nothing. It's so crazy. I've already looked up a couple of my meds, and it's like, okay, well, look, there was a case study of someone who tried to overdose on mycophenolate, and nothing happened, unfortunately. So I'm not going to do anything dumb, because the trouble is that you can overdose and not die, and then just have like really debilitating. People have overdosed on like paracetamol or anti-inflammatories or something, and then ended up with just really severe nerve damage, up in a wheelchair. When I look at myself in the mirror and I look at my hands and my clothes and my skin, and I feel like I'm not really it just seems so mean, and I don't like it just seems mean to like stop it living, and just there's nobody there to help me. There's nobody. And they say, oh, if only she'd reached out to mental health. It's not mental health. People mostly don't kill themselves. It's not a mental health problem. It's a not being able to fucking exist in this world problem. And I don't know. How am I supposed to kill myself? I have to find a way. It's like so horrible. Like, how the hell am I supposed to do that? I'm a fucking vegan. I don't even kill flies. I've got to kill a human. Well, just wish I had one person to talk to.